everyone. Green morning, green afternoon, green evening to all our brothers and sisters across the globe. Wherever you are, we extend a very, very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you very much for being a part of this particular webinar. Thank you very much for sparing time. Thank you very much for thinking about our youth, our teachers, our educators, our counselors, our headmasters, our principals, our vice chancellors, and everybody. We are grateful to all of you. Those are there to empower the education ecosystem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to take you to 8 beautiful states of northeast part of India. I love these states, right? Starting from Tripura, Manipur, Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Sikkim. All the 8 states. When I go, it's such a lovely, such a lovely memories and such a lovely feeling. Because right from 1973 onwards, I'm associated with this particular region, and wonderful region, wonderful people, wonderful culture, very, very warm civilization. And if somebody has to pick up soft skills, come to northeast part of India, etiquettes, manners, gesture, body language, personality, communication skills, and how basically interpersonal skills, all that is existing in beautiful northeast part of India. Today, I'm going to take you to the youth of Northeast, wonderful youth of Northeast, and they are looking forward to hand holding. They are looking forward to right opening. They are looking forward to what best they can do if they are given right support by the ecosystem of so-called our central government, state government, and all other stakeholders, whether PSUs, and people those are indirectly associated with the youth. So what all is the confluence? First is the education, which is the base of the universe. Thereafter, you want me to acquire some skills. Great. I will pick up the skills. So education I have taken, formal education I have taken, skills I have acquired. Now I'm looking forward to right opening. Either I got to be a startup, or I got to be an entrepreneur, or I got to be self-employed, or I got to be employed, but I'm looking forward to right opening. So ladies and gentlemen, this evening I have got a golden triangle under the dynamic and dedicated leadership of Mr. Tyrone D. Brass. He is the one who is rocking, and every Saturday, he's the one who is packaging. I'm just giving my voice over here, and I'm just sharing my vision with all of you. But it's basically the entire packaging, the concept, the hard work, the dedication, the sincerity is that of Mr. Tyrone D. Brass, the headmaster, Sherwood School, Tura. That's the CEO Concilium, Meghalaya. It's a beautiful place. Let the situation a little bit more improve. I'm going to travel to Tura. I'm going to meet all the children, all the educators, and everybody right over there in the Northeast. And particularly when I travel to Meghalaya, we would enjoy all of us together. So we extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Ryami, Mr. Dhakar, and Mr. Tyrone D. Brass. Let me share a couple of slides with all of you, and then we move on. So ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of ICSI, International Chamber for Service Industry, we extend a very warm welcome to all of you. And let us see who is going to be the first person to join this evening, because I'm going to give a surprise. Anybody who joins from Northeast today first, you get 1,000 rupees cash prize on the YouTube. Okay, great. So we are focusing on service industry, education, skilled, and entrepreneurship. All are part of basically services sector. Do you recall that the Pravasi Bharati Divas started in 2003, but from 1994 onward, we have been getting lots of people together on a common platform who come from abroad to be the part of this entire process. So 2003, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, he gave a wonderful vision, and the Pravasi Bharati Divas started in a formal way on 9th of January 2003. Before that, From 1994 onward, it used to be Punjabi Parvasi Divas. And thereafter, now you've got vibrant Gujarat, vibrant Telangana, vibrant Karnataka, vibrant Andhra, vibrant Rajasthan, vibrant Madhya Pradesh, vibrant Northeast. Yes, all together. So, ladies and gentlemen, this year, due to the pandemic, we had digital interaction. Last year, basically, we had a wonderful deliberations where we focused basically on medical tourism, and we had gone on what kind of a wellness, yoga, meditation, naturopathy. When I look back and I think about Northeast, it gives me beautiful feelings how I entered the region, how I entered that particular ecosystem of Northeast way back in 73. And thereafter, Northeast gifted me that I became the first Indian Army officer to move on deputation to the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, after doing my master's and PhD. And thereafter, we set up with our team India's first travel and tourism institute in, Gwalior, and that was under the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. And also, it's a proud privilege that we drafted India's first MBA tourism program for the universities and colleges, which was introduced in almost about 47 such universities and colleges. And I still recall when I moved to the ministry, there used to be a 3 years diploma of the hotel management. We immediately took up with IGNOU and we converted that diploma into a degree program. So these are some stepping stones and milestones. And because I'm from the uniform, coming from the armed forces, so I had to give back something to my uniform as well. Like today, I'm trying to repay back to the Northeast. Similar way, I wanted to repay back to the army as well. So when I moved on deputation to the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, with our team under the dynamic, dedicated leadership of Adjutant General of the Indian Army, that time, Lieutenant General K.M. Seth, who later on became the governor of Manipur and Chhattisgarh, we set up Army Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology in Bangalore. I'm really, really proud of it. So, when we talk about services sector, education skills are the integral part of it. 12 sectors being identified where we all worked very hard under the leadership of Shri Sudhanshu Panditji that time. He was in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. From there, we had moved to Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise, that services sector to be brought at par with manufacturing sector. And ladies and gentlemen, we are proud of our chairman of the MSME, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise with our chamber, Shri Rabindranathji, who is a former chairman and managing director, National Small Industries Corporation. It's a proud privilege that before he laid down the arms with the Ministry of MSME, we had a privilege to be together for about 2.5 to 3 years, where I picked up a lot of learning from him. We are also happy because when you think about Northeast, you always think about media entertainment industry, radio, television, theater, music, films, animation, digital, and whatever you can think of. Children are very, very talented, and Northeast has got a tremendous scope. And there's a proud, we got to think about it. The film tourism has got a tremendous potential for the youth of Northeast. They are looking forward to right opportunity. In that direction, we had organized a cinematic tourism Destination Northeast International Conference, along with all the 10 ASEAN countries in Mumbai. I'm grateful to Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India to host that event. And we got about 400 celebrities together, including all the production houses, director, producer, actor, singer, performers from the Northeast in Mumbai with us together. And Janu Barwaji, I'm so grateful to you. Along with other production houses and directors, you had delivered that day the keynote address when Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, They all worked together on a common platform. And thereafter, ladies and gentlemen, we had also gone to Manipur. I still recall when the Honorable Chief Minister of Manipur released our services export document in the international conference. Thereafter, we had gone to the Chief Minister of Nagaland, Nipurioji. I'm grateful to him. We had the United Nations conference in Dimapur from our chamber, along with the United Nations Global Compact, UNGC. Thereafter, the Guwahati Airport expansion plan with the Airport Authority of India. Unfortunately, we lost the former chairman of AAI, Airport Authority of India, during the second wave of COVID, and strengthening aviation network in the entire Northeast, particularly with the ASEAN countries and other places, and within Northeast as well. As far as Meghalaya is concerned, I can never forget 8th and 9th of August 2016, I was in Shillong. There was inauguration of the ASEAN Study Center, where with the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, we had set up ASEAN Study Center that was with ICSSR. And that was something wonderful. And it was within the campus of Nehu. And I still recall the Chief Secretary of Meghalaya, Mr. Karopa, he had delivered a special address on that day. And then we had gone to Advantage Assam. And on 3rd and 4th of February 2018, there was a mega event, 4,000 delegates, and that was Advantage Assam. From world over, we got the potential investors, everybody together on a common platform. But thereafter, unfortunately, 25th of March 2020, there was a COVID wave, and there was a complete lockdown, and our chamber decided, like doctors, nurses, paramedical people are doing great job, why not we should focus on education, and particularly we should go with the youth and teachers. Lot of skills have been acquired, lot of innovation and creativity has come out during this COVID. Let me tell you, every challenge is an opportunity. It's all up to us. I would have never met 10,000 educators from the world over. And had I not taken a little step from our chamber, and we would have got closer during this pandemic. And I'm proud that we have done more than 1,270 webinars. And that is something amazing. And we have got more than 100,000. That means 1 lakh youth being connected from the world over, and 10,000 teachers are the integral part of this entire journey. Education, skills, Vedanta, water management, family happiness, waste to resource management, how to live with minimum and sharing with others, Ayurveda for the global wellness, empowering teachers and youth, micro, small and medium enterprises, services exports, social media, entertainment, and making education relevant by all means. That is the agenda we took. I also lost my another very dear friend during this pandemic, Sir Ken Robinson. This February, I lost him, and great soul, great learning from him. I always will remember him till I am on this planet. I've yet to come across a visionary, and he always used to discuss what is the purpose of education: economic, social, cultural, personal, or is it the amalgamation of all? From Indian perspective also, when you say in Hindi, it's the Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. That means the whole world is one global family. And ladies and gentlemen, what is the ICSI outcome during this COVID till date? We require mental wellness, physical wellness, environmental wellness, community wellness, economic wellness, learn, relearn, upskill, lifelong learning. Education got to be relevant to our day-to-day living and our life. Education should be stress-free. No too much of exams. It should be fun. It should be happiness. It should be musical. It should be dancing. It should be gamification. It should be related to the nature. Look at this tree. If you look at it continuously for about 5 minutes, you will have different thought process. You'll be more positive. You'll be more calm. You will not carry any anxiety, no stress. All that has to be taken. It gives you peace of mind. Of course, technology is going to revolutionize the entire education ecosystem. And post-corona, we all got to think that B2B is not business to business, it's back to basics of life. New education policy has come. Great regards and gratitude to Honorable Prime Minister. Education, skills, and outcome of both has to go hand in hand. And that's why today we have got NEDFI and Nabard through the efforts of, our friend, Mr. Tyrone. Now, during lockdown, I'm grateful to all the people, those have come from world over, being a part of it with the schools, colleges, universities, polytechnics, ITIs, skill centers, all these stakeholders of the edtech platforms and apps, they all were together. Right from California, every Sunday, we got Professor Satinder Dhiman. From Thailand, we got our president. From Malaysia, we got Dr. Ramesh Kodamalji. From Cambodia, we got Sandeep Majumdarji. From Singapore, we got Anil Manochaji and Eric Fault. I'm so grateful to you that you are such a wonderful person. He had been the chief guest on a number of occasions, along with his team, the regional director of the UNESCO for the entire South Asia. He had been joining me from Paris, from Delhi, from all the places wherever he was. I'm grateful to all the teachers. I'm grateful to all of them and all the principals. I'm also grateful to, the Sector Skill Council, Beauty and Wellness. Children, those are watching this particular program. Youth, those are watching this particular program. I'm grateful to all of you sparing your time. Why don't you undertake one of the programs free of cost? In fact, I would request Mr. Tyrone, he should take Beauty and Wellness Sector Skill Council and Media Entertainment Sector Skill Council all the way to Tura. We would give all possible support what is needed. And at the same time, Colonel Anil Kumar Pokhriyal, the CEO of the Management and Entrepreneurship and Professional Skill Council, where the entrepreneurship comes. I'm also grateful to Anand Prakash ji, right in the Middle East. He brought more than 12,000 people for us right from the Middle East. And of course, I'll be failing in my duties if I do not convey my deep gratitudes and thanks to Professor Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji. Together, we have done 50 webinars every Sunday, 8 p.m. We are with the NRIs. So I'm grateful that we started this process with Professor Satinder Dhiman on 3rd of October, and thereafter Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan took up. I'm also grateful to Colonel Arya, Colonel Inder Mohan, and all my brother officers, right up to the Major Generals and Lieutenant Generals, and right from the Army, Navy, and Air Force, 100 scenic schools which are to be set up in India under the PPP mode, how it has to come up in India. They're going to do the great service for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are grateful to all those. And do you know, there's a very big international film city coming up, the largest and the biggest in India, in 1,000 acre in Noida. Why can't we think of for the entire Northeast at one place together, which is accessible, easily available? Jammu and Kashmir film policy, it was announced on 5th of August this year, and this education policy is worth going through. North India tourism, Northeast India tourism, NEITC. I am thankful to Mr. Blah and his entire team. Mr. Blah is also from Meghalaya. All of them, they have done together. So Northeast India film tourism potential of the webinar, I'm pretty sure somebody from Northeast should take it up. Now, teachers and the youth, we will keep doing the hand-holding for all of you. I'm proud that we brought India's first finishing school in 1994, where basically the personality development, communication skills, critical thinking, curiosity, creative thinking, and collaboration, and continuous learning through music, humor, fun, dance, happiness, passion, and stimulation for youth and teachers. All youth, those are watching this program, all the energies in you. You are the best on this planet. Start believing. All teachers, you're the best on this planet. And go around the world. Try and see. When I traveled world over in all continents, I've become more humble. I've started realizing that my existence is insignificant on this planet because I'm small, 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 non-existent molecule on this planet, because there is so much of abundance having been given and developed and brought on this planet by nature, Mother Earth, and by the Almighty, and we are so insignificant. So, as a gesture, the finishing school now we have recoined and we call it e-Gurukul, because everything is happening electronically, everything is happening digitally, and we are focusing on tourism and entertainment industry. I would offer to Mr. Tyrone that in his school, he should go for tourism and entertainment. Our chamber would be more than happy to help your school to focus on tourism and entertainment in future. There's a tremendous scope. Children from your school, those are within the age of 14 to 28, those have passed out, those are studying, those are your alumni, they all can register over here. We can put them in touch with world over global confluence, global knowledge, and let them have the right opportunities wherever they can. Education in e-Gurukul is all informal, no money, no money, no money. Nobody will be paid and nobody will be charged. No teacher will get any money from world over and no student will pay any money. We will make optimum use of technology. And why do not we make our education relevant to our day-to-day life? This is the future vision of ICSI. We have been doing from 2001, but I wish to share with all of you, develop your education, academics, and your skills the best possible way. Build your wellness, focus on entertainment, and go for services exports. World over, the population is aging. You are needed, you are required, you are desired, but go in a graceful way. And B2B, finally, we come on this golden triangle. This is not Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. I'm talking about golden triangle. I'm talking about golden triangle, basic food, basic health, basic education, where sustainable development of the world, and B2B, no more business to business, back to basics of life. That's the way. So ladies and gentlemen, Napoleon Hill, 1908, do remember, whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. All of us, let's get together. We extend a very hearty welcome to Mr. Riami, that is from NEDFI, Mr. M. Thakur, that is from Nabard, and Mr. Tyrone D. Brass, the headmaster, Shewood School, Tura, and the CEO, Consilium, Meghalaya. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, join me in extending a very warm welcome. And today, I'm going to give some cash prizes. I've already announced whosoever joined this evening as the first person on the YouTube channel, you get 1,000 rupees cash award. Rest of the questions, I'll keep pouring in between. Let's enjoy together, work together. You never know that you become the winner and you celebrate your happy birthday today or maybe tomorrow, but you should be the winner. So join me in extending a very hearty welcome to this trio, empowering youth of Northeast India through education, skills, startup, and entrepreneurship. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have all of you. And I would request my friend, my brother, Mr. Tyrone, to take on the floor from here to set the context, to set the journey. Today is 30th, 4 days have passed, 26th of October, the train rolled out and moved towards Northeast. Dekho Apna Desh. 4 nights have passed. 26th has gone, 27th has gone, 28th has gone, 29th has gone. It's a 14 nights and a 15 days trip. The entire train is having beautiful movement towards Northeast. And a lot of people, those are on board, they are extremely, extremely happy because dekho apna desh through the eyes and visit to northeast part of India. And with these words, I would request Mr. Tyrone to take on the floor, please.
Good evening, Doctor. A lovely introduction. I'd like to welcome Mr. Pinkin Maulong Rimai, who is from Netfi, Shillong, and the other panelists, Mr. Madras Dakar from Nabard, who is the development manager of West and South Garo Hills. Two young gentlemen from Meghalaya, and with this pandemic in view, we need the banks to come to the front as they've always done so, but now they'll be required to come even further. So Mr. Pinkin Maulong Rimbai is a product of Loyola Institute of Business Administration, and he was at Chennai, and now he's working for the Northeast Development Financial Agency Institute, branch head of Shillong. Mr. Madras Dakar is from Nabard. I've met him personally, both of them, and two wonderful gentlemen. Well, I'm just going to put this question, and I'll start with Mr. Pinkin Maulong. You know, the pandemic has created many victims. How can the banking sector create victors?
First of all, thank you so much, Principal Tyrone, and thank you so much, Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma, for inviting me, and also the other panelists, Mr. Madras Dakar. So, let me just go straight to the question. So, of course, everybody has been affected because of the pandemic, be it the first wave or the second wave. We have seen many unemployment rate going up. So coming to the question, like what banks can help, the government has started trying to help even the small, retailers, like selling your fruits and vegetables, where they are trying to help them in terms of providing working capital finance, which is as low as 10,000 rupees under the Mudra scheme, under the Shishu loan, and is considered as a priority sector lending. So other than that, of course, the current government is trying to champion entrepreneurship, not just in India, but especially in the Northeast. That's why an institution like Netfi has been set up, which is a development financial institution, with the main objective of targeting both not just existing entrepreneurs, but also trying to help create first generation entrepreneurs. So now the pandemic actually is providing an opportunity not for people to rethink about how they are planning to look at the future. Rather than being job seekers, it's actually providing an opportunity to be job creators. So in that way, banks can have a major role in terms of providing support in terms of lending. Of course, not just lending. Other than that, also we require a lot of mentoring services, which, if I may add, Netfi is continuously providing through our business facilitation center. We have a mentor who's helping first generation entrepreneurs in order for idea creation, even in terms of preparation of DPRs, the detailed project reports. So in that way, banks have always been the champion, and in terms of development, and without banks, it would be very difficult for anybody or any entrepreneur to grow as such, because as in the Northeast, we are very aware that capital is very scarce. There's a lot of problem in terms of capital. So where in that way, not just that, because we are totally a very much agrarian economy. So in that way, I would say that banks can play a very major role. I may add, like for Netfi, we have been doing it for quite some time. And we have been trying to help first generation entrepreneurs by providing them loans at very attractive interest rates, if I may add, which is as low as around 7%. So that is how, if I can say that NetFee is trying to help. So that we have also provided a lot of, we have actually seen a lot of entrepreneurs who have grown starting very small. So I would say that, this pandemic has definitely provided more opportunity rather than, losses for people looking to set up new businesses or entrepreneurship. Yeah.
All right, that's an excellent start. I would like to hear Mr. Midras Dakar expressing his views on the same thing. Mr. Dakar, can you hear?
Yeah, I hear, but I think there is so much of connectivity issue with my.
Okay, yeah, I can see you.
Yeah, I haven't heard the question.
I can see you.
Can you just repeat me the question?
Yeah, you see, the pandemic has created many victims. How can Nabard play a role and create victors?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, commenting, like, see, we Nabard, actually we are a development bank. We don't do direct lending. Yeah, the policy making side, yes, we are doing. We have also some development projects which we are doing, like training for entrepreneurs, and also a part of the district, planning committee, where we like decide which sectors we suggest the bank, which sector to go. And the annual great plan about in districts we used to prepare is a yearly like exercise for us. And in the state level, we prepared a state focus paper for whole state with a combination of all the district planning for all the state.
I think
So
he has got
just said, like, about this. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Please
Yeah,
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes, yes. You can continue.
I think I'm having issue of connectivity. Hello.
And you can continue because we can hear. Yeah, we can hear you.
So much of.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. As I think the other person, Mr. Maya, said about this, how this pandemic really is much impacted, not just, I think, Meghalaya, not East, but I think the whole world. But I think is, when we look, I think we are more now into the sectors, which is, agri, yes, we are very much into a very deficiency states in production of agri, even in allied sectors or so. But I could see now with this pandemic, as you said, is an opportunity for us to look into more into the service sectors. I think here, like, decentralized type of functioning where it possible is there. Like, there's new thing can be taken up. Like, example, I'm saying, like, this medical transcription, where I think we have a pool of English, speaking graduates in the whole of the states. I think kind of setup can be done where we don't have much the impact of this type of pandemics, or we can work at a centralized platform. I think with this type of technology, things slowly we can shift with support, maybe as said, like from infrastructure of the state government, from even central government. We can move, I think, directly into the into the service sectors, because Northern state, we look at agri or in the allied sector, we cannot beat the pricing and the cost of productivity. So it is, I think, really is very difficult for us, because we cannot beat a sound. You see, milk production of milk, what we available here, is more cheaper than which come from Gujarat and local productions than what we get from local. So I think we need a dynamic shift where I think, as I said, maybe some entrepreneurs who can take up and do something, a reanalysis on whatever activities and possibilities. Bank instead, yes, even yesterday also we have a huge gathering under outreach program where bank yesterday they gave a sanction letters for just in West Garo Hills yesterday. It is around 3 point almost 50 crores yesterday for different sectors of the bank. I think banks are coming up, except I think we need to relook into the sectors where we really have an advantage. I think that's for me, that's from my comment this only, where I think where we have the advantage for us. Not in this all the common sectors we're having now, but we need to really relook, redefine what I think the what to say the USP of any agent.
Well, I think that's a wonderful reply from Mr. Dakar, and talking about the service industry, where he mentions about Meghalaya having the edge of English, and that really helps a lot of people, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Manipur, who have this quality of picking up English and doing extremely well. Now, talking further about the banks, okay, and this is a call by the Prime Minister of India to create entrepreneurs. How, and since many parts of the Northeast are actually rural based, and there is a little hesitancy by the rural people to approach the banking sector for help. How can the banks play a role in encouraging these people to come forward? Because as Mr. Rimbai rightly said, the interest rates are highly attractive. So how best can the banks and Nabard help these people to come forward? Mr. Rimbai. Mr. Rimbai?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, like I said, like you mentioned, of course, people there, we have more, like the rural people are a bit scared to come to the banks because, of course, it's not a hidden secret. Banks, we have a lot of documentations that we need for any type of assistance. Of course, that is a normal procedure which is prescribed under the RBI as well. But for a layman or somebody from a rural village, like for example, just a normal sales record. So very few of them will have a proper records of that. So because of that, I mean, once they visit the banks, or be it Netfee or be it any other bank, so it's when certain questions are being asked, so they become scared, like they're not able to fulfill those kinds of documents. But other than that, what I would like, how we can encourage them is, as I mentioned earlier, through a bit of mentoring, and of course, they have these, like as per mandate by RBI, we have these financial inclusion trainings, and even the awareness programs are being held. So in these kind of programs, maybe some bit of information can be shared on, like the different types of services that banks can offer. Like for example, I mentioned earlier also, we have a mentoring service. So under that mentoring service, anybody can come to us, and even if they can just share an idea. So if they share an idea, we will try to help them in actually trying to make a proper business plan for them for that particular idea through our business mentoring service. I'm not sure if all the other banks do have that, but of course, banks, they have the business correspondence, but their scope is also very limited. But of course, I would say one other thing is that, see, with the current technology that we have and the spread of internet, we have seen a lot of, in fact, even the rural folks coming into YouTube and setting up their own YouTube channels, and they are doing pretty well also. In fact, just in Meghalaya also, we have a lot of young people from rural areas actually having their own YouTube channels, doing something which to entertain the people who are watching the YouTube. And yet, actually, I'm very surprised that even have very good subscribers, like 100,000 subscribers, which is a good thing. That the power of internet is there. So right now, in fact, since internet penetration is more or less there, in even if we talk in rural areas to some extent. Now banks also have, like, I may not say about other banks, but even Netfee, we have our own portal where people can actually, if they have any inquiry or loans, they can actually go into our own website, and if they suppose require any loan amount, they can actually apply and put in their details. And once we get that kind of information, then we do a call back from our end to those entrepreneurs. So can be new businesses or can be existing businesses. So that kind of technology can play a major role in that kind of where intervention, where people are a bit scared. Of course, rural folks have to travel very far to visit the banks. So in that way, I think technology can help to a certain extent to really encourage our rural folks to come to the banks in that way.
Thank you for that answer. I was thinking, can the Indian banks follow the way the Grameen Bank operates in Bangladesh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Rimai?
Yes.
Yeah. Because the Grameen Bank is a success story.
Yes, of course. There is a limitation for the large banks to operate, because as you become bigger, it's very difficult for them to operate in that way. But of course, there are MFIs, microfinance institutions, which are lending to the rural areas. Matter of fact, of course, there are very little MFIs operating in Meghalaya. But if you look at states in Assam and other parts of the Northeast, there are quite a lot of MFI who are actually lending to those small farmers or maybe some petty trades, where they can actually, as per RBI norm, they can lend up to rupees of 1 lakh. So there are, of course, there are challenges we have, and as you mentioned, big banks may not be possible to operate under the model of Grameen, but of course, there is where the microfinance institutions are filling the gap. And I think here, even in, if I may add, in Meghalaya or maybe in the Northeast, they are also still playing a major role in trying to bridge that gap, where they can provide emergency credit line to our folks in the rural population. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dakar, what are the major challenges you have observed or confronted here in Meghalaya, Garo Hills, and maybe the Northeast as a whole? Mr. Dakar?
Yes. Confronting what, in banking or whatever, like you were asking me.
With, work with you, yeah.
No, like confronting what challenges, what in banking
the challenges that, no, with your specific line of work.
No, like, see, for us, like, our work is different from the commercial banks. Our work is that we was in policy and regulatory is there, and we do some development work, lending to state government for infrastructures that we do. But see, it's like, for me, we're talking about entrepreneurs, and as you said now, I'm just like to comment on, as you said, about a banking scenario where, as you said about there is the current bank which we're having now is difficult for the bankers also, because the way the services being provided is not like our people don't have Aadhaar. They just still standing in a queue to withdraw even 500 rupees. So I think something needs a much of digital type of both on the bank side and from the customer side. Aadhaar enrollment is one of the sectors where needs to be improved, so that at least they can withdraw from many of the CSP. So this will reduce the pressure on the bank. Otherwise, the bank will not have time. BM single 2 branch, like 2 officers in the branch. He cannot go for any big lending, as Rimai said. It's difficult. So it needs, I think, a shift from where at least, this type of more investment into one of technology. Like I said, this is a BC model or CSP model where at least the bank can, with improved connectivity, I think this is where we can, banks can, like enter more into this technology, like with the help of government. I think government is coming up, is already coming up with support. If you see, it have signed MOU with state government and MRB Rural Bank for enrollment more BCs. Even individual bank also, they are having their own way of appointing their BCs. And yeah, just then we're talking about the Grameen, how I think they already in the sectors, already banks are doing, they're lending to SAGs. NRLM is a big project, a big program in Meghalaya which is going on. I think if meeting, we see a lot of lending is going on to SAG's movement. So it's somewhat, but Grameen model, you said, but it's different from here because, now we are not anymore SAGs. If you see, not anymore, we take SAGs with only 1 or 2 lakhs. If you see now, the current circular of RBI for SAGs cash credit, collateral free is up to 20 lakhs. Just see, I think how the quantum have changed now. The quantum of loan which they can avail. So I think government banks are moving to that direction, but it's all, I think it's upgraded versions of what we're talking about the Grameen, how the Grameen bank are functioning and lending. So small banks also are coming to fill up the gaps, like not a small finance bank. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for that lovely reply, Mr. Dakar. Now, yesterday I was reading about the former RBI governor, Raman Rajan, where he said, besides the poor being badly affected due to the pandemic, even now the middle class is taking a beating in India, especially with the price of fuel just skyrocketing. And when fuel goes up, everything else goes up. Then what are your views on the comment that the former governor made about even the middle class taking a beating now? Mr. Rimai?
Yeah, of course. I mean, with the rise, so like with the rise in fuel prices, everything gets affected. Inflation goes up. But of course, I mean, it'll be hard for me to comment on exactly what will be the future impact. But of course, in short term, we are seeing some affecting in fact, even the middle class in India. But I guess what we can say is that this is also largely a global trend. So if the prices globally also are controlled, and we should see some sort of reduction in India as well. And of course, we are more like India is a developing country, so our tax collection is, compared to all the other advanced nations, is pretty low. So because of that, I mean, if you look at, like, for example, just in Meghalaya also, we are largely very much dependent on government spending for the economy to grow, especially in the rural areas. So for government to actually spend that kind of money also, there has to be some tax revenue or collection that has to happen. Of course, we have seen some GST collection has improved in the past few months, but then fuel is also one of the source for where government can collect some revenue, and this actually the revenue collected from here goes back to the economy. Of course, this impacts in the short term, but as we move ahead from this pandemic, we should see some sort of respite, coming in the near future as production improves, as the global prices also stabilizes. So that is the thing.
Okay, Mr. Dakar, do you have a different take? Mr. Dakar? Mr. Dakar?
Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted.
Okay. Oh, yes, okay. Yeah, I think I'm audible now. Yes. Yeah, I think this
Yeah.
withdrawal, but POL, I think is not beyond control of any country. Right? We have to live with it. We have to learn to live with it. I think we mustn't be emotional on this issue because it is like it is. I think the price also is not again be controlled by any government. We're not under any administrative price anymore for this POL. So I think we should learn to live and adjust with this way how the fuel price move. But yes, the only option, I think we need to find some way of our solution, either we move to bit of electrics or we move somewhere to renewable type of energy slowly. I think that we have to adjust, like even for us. Otherwise, I think I don't see any alternative, which because the international with law and order issue, if you see the international relationship is going on, we have to deal with it in a very long run. We have to adjust with it.
But don't you think the cess on fuel is very high in this country, and that's what's making it cross over 100 rupees? The cess. And
I haven't.
Global prices are not terribly too high as compared to 2013. 2013 it was almost 140.
Yeah.
And right now it's about 80.
It is a fossil fuel where we are also contributing to pollution also same time. I understand that. But I think in the long run, we have to suffer now to at least to see for a better future. Otherwise, if you want to leave now, the future will be again difficult for us. So let us suffer now. For me, let us accept the fact that is beyond our control. Let us do something like I like what Howie Minister said, like to setting up of electric charging station in different, maybe every 50 kilometers of highway. I think that's a very good move. I think the state also, I think Ben Meghalaya, I think CM also is very positive about having this type of policy where it will help for company to invest in these sectors. I think that's only the lasting solution for us. This is a temporary price move. We cannot have a control because, as I said, the international, you see how the countries' relationship also have impact, Iran, Iraq. So this is China, how we'll move. So we can't. This is not what we are doing now. This is a temporary solution. So for me, a permanent solution is to go only to go to a new electric or any other solar, or somewhat we have to substitute at least 30-40%. We should not be at least 30% we must reduce our dependent on this fuel. Otherwise, at long run, we are going to suffer.
Okay. All right. We are living in extremely uncertain, volatile times. The pandemic has created that. Okay. And a lot of people look towards the banking sector for a little solace. And as Mr. Rimbai rightly said in the beginning, there's a lot of documentation. Can't this documentation be more simplified, and the banks or even the minor small financial institutions also come forward? Because we are the way things are happening, it is so uncertain about what's going to happen tomorrow. And I was thinking if banks could come in and play a more proactive role, and finally an interactive role between them and us. Mr. Rimbai?
Yeah, so so like I said earlier, here I feel that technology will play a major role. Like I mentioned you earlier, that gap that we are having between the client and the bank. I think technology can serve a lot of the purpose. So and as of now, I think we are seeing a lot of things happening also. Like in banks, you have seen where you can update your KYC online. You're taking your photos online. They're taking your Aadhaar card online. So I mean that intervention has happened as of now. So I mean going forward, I think this pandemic has actually help us see an alternative way Like, for example, rather than traveling, I mean, of course, the fuel prices are very high now. We are having virtual meetings, and everybody's becoming, accustomed to it, have habituated today, isn't it? I mean, if we think about it, 2 years back, we would rather be happy to meet, in person and have a conversation. But now we are so used to have in virtual mode. So, like you said, of course, this pandemic has affected us a lot in a negative way, but of course, there are some positive signs which you have seen. So in that way, this pandemic can also help a lot of innovation in terms of technology, where, it will help, like, new startups come in. Like, we are seeing a lot of telemedicines people are going towards telemedicine for their, in terms of healthcare. So a lot of other technology intervention will happen across the board. So in fact, like in banking also, I think as we are also accustomed to technology, sooner or later there will be a gap. I mean, the gap will be narrowed through technology, where the documentation can be lesser. And of course, a lot of things are also being mandated by RBI. So it's not right for me to comment also. Certain documentations which bank asks are mandated and compulsory as mandated by RBI. So like your KYC and everything. Earlier, like I would add, like, in, for example, like Meghalaya, Mr. Dakar has mentioned that, people are not having Aadhaar. Just wait 3-4 years back, people were not even having PAN card. But then now that culture, like, people are starting to have all those kind of KYCs which are required. So even just to, before, I used to remember when we try to convince people just to get their PAN card also is very difficult. They will have some kind of a second thought that this can be used as for some other purposes and things like that. So, but then now, with the coming of DBT and everything, so Aadhaar and PAN card and all, people are more inclined to apply for these kind of things. So in that way, I would like to say that at the end of the day, it's technology that will really help ease the life of everybody in terms of both banking services or anything else. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Rimai, for that. You brought a lot of clarity with that answer of yours. Okay. Mr. Dakar, what is the philosophy of Nabard actually? Let's say in Garo Hills. How can you make things life little better for the ordinary people of Meghalaya?
See, like sister, like Nabard, we are having a very much of different projects, right, with state government, roads, and now the government are taking up for school also, building of school infrastructures. Then we have different scheme conducting trainings, and we as we support to the banks also, like rural bank mostly, but for the bank to conduct what Mr. Ramai said about financial literacy program, we supported the bank to conduct it, like that programs. We support all the banks. We have sanctioned to SBI, to MRB, to MCAV, and then Postal Bank they're conducting. And in terms of technology, also we are supporting to Apex Bank and Meghalaya Rural Bank. So that at least, like, we also with the state government also we're in touch to at least to have, with the bank time maybe sometimes, because you talk about ID. Our farmers they don't have any ID. So it's very difficult where lending, how much land they have, how much the requirement. Because as I said, you know how documents will go. The farmers will go to
I think we lost his signal.
That's right, doctor. I've got a question for Mr. Rimai. Mr. Rimai?
Yes.
Yeah. Since we've lost Mr. Dakar, I'll come to you. Okay. Wealth management is a key element for a better life, and every Indian wants a better life, deserves a better life. Okay, and when was it? About a few years ago, when jobs became scarce in the country, there was a slogan: "Start making pakoras." You know, I thought that was highly demeaning. Yes, it was demeaning, but I want to know, if everyone's going to become a pakora seller, then the demand is automatically going to a situation where it's going to fall. Prices are going to fall. So I know that was not the best idea that came out from the government about becoming a pakora man, but I was looking at wealth management, how the banks can play a role of wealth management, thereby safeguarding the future generations and giving the present youth a channel to improve the quality of their lives.
So, sir, if I may, yeah, I think both wealth management and the one you said for Pakora is totally different altogether. Maybe what the government literally didn't mean was Pakora. What the idea was about more towards entrepreneurship, I guess, looking at alternative to just government jobs, like we are seeing here in Meghalaya. To a certain extent, a lot of our youth still are looking for permanent government jobs. Of course, there are a lot of changes now through the government. Like the government has set up this Prime program, the Prime Meghalaya, where they are trying to help entrepreneurship or promote entrepreneurship in Meghalaya, where they are trying to recognize top 25 or top 50 entrepreneurs in Meghalaya, and also support them both financially and also through mentoring services. So there should be that shift, like from the government jobs to actually creating jobs for other people. And in terms of wealth management, of course, I think way back in the 1960s and 70s, maybe the earlier generation, we saw a lot of the saving rates was pretty high, and now we have seen a lot of consumerism happening. Materialistic things. People are looking more into materialistic things, like they want, if you have a 10,000 phone, you want a high-end phone, and so in that way, of course, that financial discipline, like you mentioned, wealth management, wealth can only be created if you are financially disciplined. You can't be created overnight. You have you can create wealth either by saving or by actually having more job opportunities, or through entrepreneurship, as it is. It is only through entrepreneurship where you have actually seen economies like USA, where they are today, and even countries like China, they had opened up their economy and in the 1990s and 70s. So we have seen economy, through that economy, gradually the GDP gone up and the per capita income of every person has increased. So wealth can only be increased if people are being able to meet their ends. So, and that can only be possible if they are being able to earn more, and more jobs can only happen through entrepreneurship, not with government. So in that way, I think the idea is like what we are discussing now, skill and entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is the only way where we can actually see India being developed in the next maybe 10 or 15 years. And there's no other way to it, actually. Government cannot spend. Government can only be a facilitator. So it is our own youth who have to come forward and look for those kind of opportunities. As it is as of now, the government has come up with so many schemes and programs to try to promote entrepreneurship, like the PMFME, formalization of micro entrepreneurs in the agro processing space, or maybe be in the like the mission organic value chain for development of northeastern region, which is purely for the organic space, in order to promote entrepreneurship in the organic space. So in that way, wealth management can only come after entrepreneurship. Without entrepreneurship, and of course, wealth management banks, they already have their own relationship manager, where they help people in managing their finances, where investments can be diversified. People can actually invest in many other things now, not just in fixed deposits. People earlier in the late 70s and 90s and 80s, people only saved, the only security or investments that can happen is only in fixed deposit. Even the share market was not that attractive. But then now you have the share market, you have people can invest in mutual funds, people can invest in all sorts of be it corporate bonds or any other thing like that. So banks are only having their own wealth managers who are managing, can help people manage their finances. But ultimately, like I said, if you have to propose to really create wealth, first you have to be able to meet your ends. So without meeting your ends, you can't really create wealth.
Well, yeah, I can see your point, but with the pandemic, everyone's taken a beating, and that's why my first question was, how can we create victors? And that's where I think the banks need to come a little more and be more proactive with people, and thereby, from being a victim, we become a victor. That's the way I would like it. If the banks can be a little more proactive, and there's a lot of, I meet a lot of young people, and they keep saying there's just too much of documentation. That's the biggest, they cry. There's just too much of documentation, and sometimes it's difficult to get documents. I mean, I'm talking about Meghalaya. It's very difficult to get documentation, and which the bank requires. So I was thinking, if the banks can be proactive and then interactive with the clients, we are going to get out of this rut. I think the rules need to be redefined to move forward. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I just sorry, my net connectivity is very disruptive. I just have some comment on this, what you said. I think the bank, all they move forward. If you see the products they're bringing, if you see PMAGP now, like one of the important scheme for a state like us, where still people require, because the ecosystem to start any of the to be entrepreneur, to start any entrepreneur setup, a state like us, I know how difficult it is, because everything is you have to have on your own setup. You have to start from the scratch, anything here, because you don't have any support. If you have one small setup here, you need to require from Guwahati, Assam to support your that unit. Yeah. So, but the bank is that have come forward. If you see, they have to this central government and all. If you see like simple scheme like PMAGP and all, Mudra loan is I think you should come up really to take advantage of the scheme like PMAGP and move forward. Difficulty papers that will be pertinent issue as we consult midday, because bank also has to follow, as Mr. Ramai said, the guidelines. And there is at least this criteria that paperwork should be done, because because I have seen like here also few entrepreneurs. Yes, in the beginning is difficult. I know like difficult paperwork and all, but once you have done it, it's not much difficult actually. It's not much difficult. But the only problem is that we have to depend everything either to Guwahati or somewhere, like we cannot get any service. Like if suppose, like I'm talking from government point of view, if even I require for audit statement, so we don't have a CA here. Mm-hmm. So just imagine, so like I'm saying it, how difficult for any entrepreneurs here. So I think it's not just a question of the bank, it's a question of, like of all, even the bank also, because the bank also need good customers to lend. It's not the bank want to lend, the bank also want. But I said maybe of historically a bit of hesitation on the bank side also. But because, like there's NPA for them, they lend, there is issues are there. But I think as of now, because there is, if you see like yesterday, you said 3.5 crores in Tura is not a joke in a day to give sanction letters. So the bank are coming up. But I said from your side also, you also being in touch. I think you need to bring up a good entrepreneurs, a good youth who are really aggressive his ideas, who are really new ideas, who want to do something. That is required to take the example, to lead. So I think that's a need in the bank. I think the bank, they are ready. Banks need to lend, because every time we have meeting, this in the DC meeting and all, in the CPL meetings, we review, because there is a review about the city ratio we talked about. how many people have taken loan, CD ratio, deposit and credit ratio. There also been bank. I think there, if you see last, I think quarters improving. I think we are moving. I said that only the solution, even PMGP also they move into a digital form. So I think now the stage is ready. I think if we have improved in connectivity also, I think now we are ready. It's as I said, even I think Brian mentioned about prime of even state government, so helping interest-free loan. So I think everything is ready now, except we require at least some good entrepreneurs who are really dare to take some risk and really, I think they can accept. So I think with the having of technology with us, so I think this, if you see now so many, I think form I saw like you can get your CA all audit online yourself. So I think I said maybe this pandemic, as I said, Mr. Ramai said, I think it really helping also to move ahead. Is opportunity for us getting the service here in Thurang by online mode. So I think we are moving, except now we need really good entrepreneurs need to come out and take advantage of all the schemes what government has. I mean, through the banks.
Well, with these words that Mr. Rimai and you have just expressed, there is a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. And I hope the youth of the Northeast are, being more aware of how banks and Nabard too can play a role to get out of this poverty rut and get on to wealth management. I think I'm really grateful to Mr. Rimai and Mr. Dakar for expressing their views on banking and Nabard itself. Thank you so much.
If I may add before then, yes.
Yes.
So other than that, in terms of entrepreneurship, I may also say that the government of India has set up a Northeast Venture Fund, which is primarily targeted towards startups in the Northeast. And it is sad to say though, but though we have been able to really get some entrepreneurs, from other states, we have not been able to get anybody from Meghalaya. I think one challenge actually we see here is that many of our entrepreneurs are really not inclined to, set up companies because, as a proprietorship, you enjoy the tax benefit of 30%. So many, but as a venture fund, it is mandatory for, any entrepreneur has to be a private limited company. So I think there is a lot of schemes which are, Mr. Dakar also mentioned that, government of India has already launched. So it's just for that awareness, maybe like, if I may sum it up all, that, there's a lot of lack of awareness in the general public or maybe in our younger generation. I think maybe like some sort of awareness or medium can be created either through social media or any other platform where people can be made aware of these kind of schemes which the government is providing. And like Mr. Dakar said, if there is any good entrepreneur, I'm pretty sure every bank will be, looking after the entrepreneur and trying to lend him rather than, like you said, banks also have to survive through lending, not just there's no other way for the bank to actually survive in business.
I'm going to knock on your door. Mr. Rimai?
Okay, sir.
I'm going to knock on your door.
Yes, anytime, sir.
Yeah. I will definitely knock. Dr. Gulshan?
Yes,
hello.
Lovely. Yes, lovely discussion, lovely deliberation.
Yes,
I enjoyed thoroughly. Thank you very much for taking the discussion forward. Yeah. So first of all, my deep gratitudes and thanks to the trio. This Golden Triangle has done wonderful beyond Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. They have taken us all the way to the entire Northeast, and we all have enjoyed quite a bit. And few threads I'll just take up from here. Mr. Tyrone made one very important point, which I'm going to take, how to shift from victim to victor. That is something lovely. How to shift from victim to victor. That was lovely. Now, Mr. Ramai has given lots of points. And something very interesting he has given to me, which lets Mr. Tyrone implement from next week. He told there are a lot of schemes available, lot of avenues available for the youth, but I think there's a lack of awareness, and we got to bring more awareness of what all schemes are available. So from next week, we will keep 15 minutes time. What all are the new schemes of the government for the youth? 15 minutes we will dedicate every week for the youth. That we are going to have it from the next week. And we can take the valuable inputs from all these setups and organizations wherever they are. Our concern is youth skills, our youth's MSME, our youth getting loan, whether NEDFI or Nabard, for that matter, SIDBI and other banks. We can take all of them on board and we can work out and we can develop the strategies. Then he also made a mention Northeast Venture Fund, which has been set up and which has been basically given by the central government, but there is maybe because of lack of awareness, not much of takers. Yeah, we started evening with the first generation entrepreneurs when he talked about, and that was something very nice. And today it was highlighted because English language is the advantage for Northeast and particularly for Meghalaya. We got to think about it, and something we have to work out. Technology is moving very fast in a digital way. And if I share one statistics with you, you'll be surprised to know. The new education policy, which has come to India on 29th of July, 2020, whatever it was to achieve in the digital technology next 10 years, it has been done in 1.5 years. 1.5 years. It was to go on a slow pace, but it has been given such a kick that without that you can't manage, whether by mobile phone or laptop or desktop or iPad or whatever is there. You have to reach your potential client, and teachers have done great job. Okay. The fuel prices, I'm totally with Mr. Dakar, 200%. Fuel prices should not be reduced. It should not be. There is a reason. There is a reason. All the global warming which is coming up world over, because what is happening, there are certain families which has got 4 cars, each one of them, they are going separately. Slowly and gradually, we have to shift to the battery operated. Let's take an example of Netherlands, Holland. Do you know even the prime minister of that country in the evening, he comes on a bicycle with a torch in front. I think let's get back to roots. And that's why in our slide, we have shown B2B is not a business to business. It's back to basics of life. And something very interesting you have mentioned somewhere, technology is going to play a very important role for all of us. And battery operated, solar battery operated, others, lot of lithium batteries and other things are coming up. And that's the way the whole technology, we should use less petrol, less diesel, less pollution we should create. And all these countries, those sit that today this summit and tomorrow that summit and developed nations, they create maximum pollution. Let me say with a conviction from this platform. Coming further, we mentioned innovation, telemedicine, telemarketing, the BPOs and medical services and all. That's a future, because more than health, people are going to focus on wellness. Wellness is going to be more important. And there comes yoga, meditation, naturopathy, organic farming, running and doing some exercise and all. Meghalaya should take an advantage because of its greenery. Let Meghalaya take an advantage. And I'll give you one secret, that when you talk about Ministry of Ayush, do we know that the maximum plantation of the herbal plants in northeast part of India? Maximum herbal plants are in northeast. Why not to take advantage? The complete study should be done in Meghalaya. Which are the medicinal plants which can be used in Ayurveda and related medicines and for the wellness? That could be one of the study which can be taken. Now, Nabard training program, when he was talking about, We have done a lot of program our chamber has done with NABCons. And I still recall Mr. Karmakar, when he was the CMD, I had gone to Mumbai and we had discussed a lot of things together. And the present gentleman who is the chairman, he was in Chandigarh, that time the DGM. We have done a couple of programs together. We thought about it. We worked on to it. Nabard has got a great role to play because India still is rural economy. We live in villages. We should do wonderful for villages. Nabard should come forward. Nabard should take further a lead, and Nabard should be brought right up to the school level and right up to the institution classroom, and they can be the part of the entire ecosystem. That something is very nice. Somewhere you have mentioned Prime Meghalaya program. I'm not aware of it. I'll read it. I'll go through and I'll educate myself. Then somebody has asked a question. When you give a loan, are you doing a mentoring or a coaching and a training program also thereafter? That is also the big question asked on the YouTube. And there's somebody who has asked me, are these loans available only to SC, STs, or are these for the journal category in the Northeast as well? That is also a question being asked by someone. So I thought I should bring it to you. Micro entrepreneurship, organic farming, wealth management, mudra loan, couple of things we have touched in shortest possible time, although we have overshot by 21 minutes, but I think it was worth, because finance management, wealth management, and one more question, Mr. Tyrone, I ask. And this I'm asking all my teachers, all my headmasters, all my principal, why don't we teach, the basic personal finance management to children in schools? It should be the part of curriculum. It should be the part of syllabi. Let there be a personal finance management being taught in schools and colleges and institutions. Children do not know how to manage their finance. They do not know. I'm telling you, at this age also, I find it very difficult. I'm dependent on my accountant, my accounts department. When I have to look at the balance sheet, when I have to look at other things, there are so many children, they do not know what are the 400 operations of the ATM. What all ATM provides the services. They just go put the card inside, take out the money and just move out. That's all. What are the other services which ATM is giving? I personally feel disaster management, organic farming, personal finance management, and healthy living, wellness management, environment management, and every school should have a small compound where the organic farming should take place. Children should learn everything in a practical way. I think CBSE, Kendriya Vidyalaya, and our central schools, army schools, Navodaya schools, please reduce the syllabi. Please reduce the curriculum. There are so many things. By the time you come to my age, I have never used, I'm 72 today. I have never used those subjects and those contents in my life. I do not know why my teachers, they taught me. I feel sometimes I'm an idiot. I studied those subjects. Thereby, let's modify, let's teach less. Let there be more innovation. Let there be more creativity. Let there be more collaboration. Let there be more participation. And let there be a more practical part of day-to-day. And people like NEDFI and Nabard, they should come to schools and colleges and institutions, and they should be the part of curriculum along with other teachers, the regular teachers, those are employed over there. They should also visit the institution sometime so children know what exactly it is. I can vouch for it. Many kids, they pass 12th and they do not know what is Nabard unless they have come across. So I think, Mr. Tyrone, you want to say something before we close the session.
That's right, Doctor.
Yes.
2018,
Yes.
the Meghalaya State Board
Yes.
had introduced financial education.
Congratulations to the Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya. And
Yes.
the entire officials and particularly the bureaucracy of Meghalaya, if they have introduced, because this is a wonderful which has been brought. I'm very happy. I didn't know about it.
Yes, because I had gone for that workshop, and then we took it to schools. So what you raised this evening, I think, is very, very correct. And as you appeal to the CBSE schools to introduce the same. Wonderful idea.
God bless them. I'm very happy. My heartiest congratulations to Meghalaya, the entire government, and all the stakeholders. Those are policy framework. My humble request, there are 20 tips. There are 20 points we will discuss with Mr. Tyrone in the next Saturday webinar. They should be included in the education. Why are we teaching theory? Why are we killing children? And I will bring the examples before you. How many exams are being conducted in India? And I will give you practical example vis-a-vis other countries where 1/4 exams are conducted and those children are doing 1,000 times better than our children.
That's right, doctor.
Exam. I'm going to say we are killing the youth of, happiness of the children. They don't smile all the times. Homework. There should not be any kind of a homework. Mr. Tyrone will get annoyed with me. I think I should I should close this program today.
I think I'm really enjoying this session.
I'm sorry. I'm going to close the program now because there should be less syllabi. There should be less exams. Children should be more happy. We should focus more on their skills. We should focus more on their hobbies. We should focus more on their humor. We should focus more on their laughter. We should focus more there on wellness. And of course, the wealth has to come from Mr. Dakar and Mr. Rayami, and they have to support the children. By the time children pass out from the schools, they should decide how to become entrepreneur. There are two small kids. They are Bharadwaj. They are in Dubai. They are Indians, and their examples are being quoted. They are 19 years and 23 years old, and they have borrowed 100 scientists to whom they are training now. And they're doing innovation, new pedagogy and new andragogy. And the other day, CBSE chairman was there. AICT chairman was there. And that video, everybody should watch on the YouTube. Collaboration between CBSE and AICT. Why there should be a gap between school and college? School principals and college principals should sit together and they should think about it. Education should not be punishment. It should be pleasure. It should be happiness. It should be rewarding. It should be futuristic. It should be relevant to my day-to-day life and my living. Let Meghalaya take a lead. Let every child as a services export move abroad. If we are good at English language, let's identify the countries where English teachers are needed. And now, let me tell open secret. You need not to physically travel for next 1 year. You can do digital classes and you can make the money. You can do part-time job. You can do all that. So
that's
with
right, doctor.
Yeah, so with these words, ladies and gentlemen, my deep thanks and gratitude to Mr. Tyrone D. Brass, Mr. Rami, and Mr. Dakar. Thank you very much for joining us. Look forward everybody meeting in the northeast part of India next Saturday, rocking at 8 p.m. All the youth of northeast, let me tell you, I love you. All teachers, I regard you. All principals and headmasters, I respect you. All vice chancellors, I adore you. And the principal secretary education, I bow before you because you brought the finance management, personal finance management, and Honorable Chief Minister, hats off to you. Thank you very much, everybody. Stay fit, stay fine, enjoy your